Well, hello everyone. Thanks for joining me on my channel again. Today I'm here in the Karoo, semi-desert part of South Africa. After some recent rains, we had quite a bit of rainfall. So quite a bit, about 25 millimeters a few days ago, after almost a 7-year drought. So I'm hoping to find some subjects this morning for my macro lens, maybe some flowers, lots of little green plants popping up everywhere. So yeah, let's see what we can find today. Thanks for joining me again, and let's hope we can find something that's worth it. It's amazing how quickly it can get green in this area after some rain. Not much more than a week ago I was here in the same area and it was just grey with almost nothing appeared to be alive, even though of course they were alive. A couple of the cacti started to bloom, but it was a very half-hearted effort on their side. But today, 3 or 4 days after the rain, there's green everywhere. The cactuses have lots of flowers, lots of little succulent plants everywhere popping up, even some grass is starting to grow. So this is really gorgeous. Just shows you how resilient nature is to something like a drought, specifically an area that is desert anyway, so most of the plants here are adapted. I'm hoping to find some macro shots. I did bring the macro lens, my trusty Sigma 150. So plants mostly, I would say, maybe some lichen. Yeah, if there's anything else, you'll see it soon enough. Just look how green it is around here. I mean, look at this patch of grass. There's hardly ever grass in this area anyway. So yeah, this is quite gorgeous. I'm not sure if there'll be more rain soon, but if there is, it'll get even better. But at the moment, the plants are very thankful, and I'm sure so are the animals. I already saw a kudu, a mother and a child combination this morning on the way here, and quite a few mongoose. There seems to be a lot of mongoose around this area as well. So let's see if I can find any subject of interest that is worthwhile taking the lens cap off. Just look at this cactus flower. Actually, I think it's past the flower stage. I think this is actually the fruit stage. I think this is going to be my first subject. Let me set up the camera. So I think this makes for a nice first subject. This cactus, what's called a Noordsveld cactus. It's gone now past flowering stage, and there are little fruits or seeds on this plant. I love the colors, the what, almost burgundy red, fat little seeds. I wonder if they're edible. It doesn't look like anything is eaten on this one, but there's one just behind it that some animal took a chomp out of. So I think I'm going to shoot this probably at about, probably going to have to focus stack, maybe 3 or 4 photos. I'll shoot at about f14, ISO 100. It'll be around about I guess about a 50th of a second. And then let's see what we can get, if we can get some nice detail on that. At least there's very little wind today. The last time I came here to shoot macro, it was so windy I really had an issue. But you can see how much depth of field is needed as I work through the focus area. So yeah, I ended up taking about 4 shots. And yes, here's the image, if it did work out. This tiny little flower, a small little succulent plant. I'm not sure what it is, but it's got these tiny, very delicate little flowers on it. I think actually quite gorgeous. Again, I'm going to need to do some focus stacking. Shoot at f14, ISO 100, and about 1/25th of a second. There's a little breeze at the moment, but the light is also improving, so I think 1/25th of a second would be good enough if I just wait for a quiet little bit between the wind, bits of wind that I keep on pumping through. Probably just thermals in the area. Let me shoot it before the sun gets too harsh. find a real interesting composition here. Here's another flower very similar to the previous one, just slightly less dark, slightly lighter flowers. I'm going to try and find a composition here that is pleasing to the eye. I don't think this particular one's going to work, but again, I'm going to need to stack a couple of images to get the depth of field right. Yes, I think I'm going to end up sticking to the landscape format. I'll probably end up cropping a bit, or maybe even crop it into a square just to get rid of some of the dead area on the left hand and a bit on the right hand side. I'm now on top of a little hill here. Just show you the area. See, there's a lot more green bits and pieces around than there were even a week or two ago. But still, it is still desert or semi-desert. And in the distance we're getting, it's a cloudy day, but the clouds are starting to break up. So soon it's going to be sunshine. It's going to get very hot, probably about I think the prediction was about 36 degrees Celsius, and it's relatively humid, so it's not going to be all that pleasant. So I need to shoot what I want to shoot and get it over and done with. Macro shoot for me would be complete, shooting in this area anyway, without a lichen shot or two. And look what I found on this rock. It's really orange lichen. It almost looks like rust on the rock, but it's definitely a lichen. So on the solid rock as a background, I think it'll also make for a nice 3D model or a 3D movie. I'm going to try and shoot enough images so that I can have enough depth of field that I can actually create a 3D a motion picture out of this. Let me shoot it before the sun gets too harsh, because the sun's just broken through the cloud. What I also found on the rock, inside a crack diagonal across bottom left to top right, there's something growing in there. Tiny little round balls, whitish, with what appears to be little holes in them. They're probably no more than 1.1 millimeter across. Also the rock has some interesting patterns in it, and there's still a bit of that orange lichen around. So I think this is going to make quite a nice composition, and it'll also make for a pretty nice 3D model. Let me shoot it before the next wave of sunlight arrives and creates dark shadows. Just look at that gorgeous little fern, tiny. Total height maybe 5 or 6 centimeters, growing in a little crack in the rock, where the rock is the background. And I think in this case, shallow depth of field is going to be working in my favor. So I'll probably shoot it at about, I don't know, about f5.6. Maybe focus stack just 1 or 2 images to make sure that the fern is in focus, but I probably want the rock in the background to be not in focus. But I think it's going to make a nice image, a landscape in miniature. I think this rock is absolutely fascinating. Not only the colors of the lichen, but also the shapes of the rock. You can see how it was formed, probably by volcanic action, I would assume. I'm no expert, but yes, I love the patterns and the shapes in it. And over there you can actually see the little fern that I just took an image of as well. Unfortunately, the sunlight is now a bit harsh. And just look at that gorgeous little flower hiding away there in a shady spot. The sun is now out and it's quite harsh, but this flower is in a shady spot, so I think the light will still be usable. Again, I'm going to have to stack it a bit, a couple of images, but I don't want the background in focus, so I'll probably end up stacking only 3 or 4 images at f5.6 or maybe f8. But yes, beautiful. This is a bit larger than the previous flowers. This is probably about 20 millimeters across, something like that. Here is me trying to shoot the lichen on the tree, but the sunlight is now very harsh. I'm just hoping that it's not going to be too harsh. But you can see the whole tree trunk is covered with this lichen all the way up, and the other trunk, there are actually 2 trunks. That this one is almost horizontal, but again also covered with a lichen. The trunk of a shepherd's tree, but it's absolutely covered by lichen. Almost no more bark exposed. It's actually quite beautiful, greyish, whitish lichen with a very fine pattern to it. So it's obviously, I don't think it's doing the plant any harm, because it seems to be quite healthy. They live in harmony. I think I'm going to end up cropping this image quite a bit. Too much, it's too busy around the edges. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop it into a square, maybe, just centering on the center lichen that has a darkish grey and then a lighter grey, and then towards the bottom, the piece towards the bottom is got a slight yellow tinge to it. So I think that'll make for an interesting image, specifically the very fine detail, the absolutely tiny detail. I'm glad I've got enough pixels that I can crop out that bit, because I can't really get much closer with the tripod to that image. A longer lens than 150 millimeters would have been nice, but yes, that's what I've got, so I've got to make it work. Just look at this beautiful cactus, past flowering now in the fruit stage, very similar to the one that I photographed in the beginning of this video. And it's also got that aloe next to it. I think this particular clutch of cacti could probably be used as a very nice foreground subject. As you can see, just to the other side of it we've got some rocks, and on the left hand side as well there's some rocks. So maybe early morning or late afternoon. Actually, this is probably more early morning. This could be used for a sunrise photo shoot, with some beautiful clouds, some rocks as leading lines, this cactus with a very purplish burgundy colored seeds on it will make for something different than just the normal rocks we have in this area. Just look at this speckboom. Lots of flowers. They always flower towards the top of the plant, interestingly enough. Extremely fine little pink flowers, tiny, about 0.5 millimeter in diameter. But when there are thousands or hundreds of thousands of them, it actually makes the whole area beautiful. I wonder if you can hear all the insects. It's normally not this noisy around here. Well, I think this is pretty much it. Sun is getting too hot and too harsh. The light is getting too harsh, and the photographer is going to overheat just now. So thanks for watching this far, much appreciated. By now you'll know if I did manage to find some decent images, but I do hope so, and I do think so. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. You can find more details about my photography and the equipment I use in the description below. Hope to see you in the next video. Much appreciated. Be safe and be happy.